Okay, let's get your shoulders happy. So we'll go through some tips on both the prevention and healing side. Key with shoulders is it's a shallow joint. You want to maintain a good balance between stability and mobility. So first we'll look at some yoga poses that can interfere with that good balance. Often binds. So you might find yourself trying to hold your wrists here or your fingers and get into a bind, and then you're using the strength of your legs, your thighs against your shoulders. You're holding that bind and you're lifting up, you're wobbling around. Now, what do you think is going to lose in this competition between legs and shoulders? Your legs are way stronger, so forget that. Don't hold a bind while you're moving, especially. Not a good idea, especially when you're using strength against strength here. So you want to stay pretty easy. If you're wrapping yourself around that leg, that can be a nice way to open up your chest, but you're not forcing it. You're not trying hard to get into it, and you're always movable. See if you can always do this movability test. Am I where I can move? And then when you're moving, you don't have to put yourself in a bind while you're moving. You can always make things a little easier for yourself. So stand on the left foot, you just carry it up. If you want to retake a bind around the thigh, that's easy for you, then that's easy for you. If you want to extend the leg, extend the leg. But best thing is, especially while you're going through big moves, you can be in a bind when you're kind of standing or when you're down low. But when you're doing big moves that involve your legs, that involve your thighs moving, you do not want those thighs working against a bind on your shoulder. So just let it go. Always stay easy. When you wiggle, your whole body should move. That's how you know that you're relaxed. So that's binds. And then another thing that can come up with shoulders is, this is a nice shoulder opener, but you don't have to try hard to hold your hands or try to hold your wrists. Maybe you just grab a little fingertip there. Maybe the hands aren't even holding. Especially if you're trying to get all around your shoulder, it can be really nice sometimes to just let the hands hang and roll around a little forward, a little back, so you get into more than just where you might reach if you're always putting yourself in a bind. Give yourself that freedom to get into more of you. And again, the aim with your shoulders is not more and more and more. The aim is just to have mobility, healthy balance between strength and flexibility, stability and mobility. So another thing to come into that you should look out for in looking for that balance is, the first time you do a move like that, that shoulder opener might feel good, but then you just go for more and more and more. Forget more and more and more. Just drop it out. You don't need to get your shoulder limitlessly open. So find ways where you can gently get into your shoulder, like sitting on your hip here. So I'm just dropping that right shoulder, getting into it a bit. You don't need to get more and more and more. You just want to feel like you're getting a nice opening, but eventually your shoulders might already be open. And then you move on to something else. You just get into your body every which way you can. If your shoulder feels tight, and that feels really good to just do something simple, like easing the shoulder down, having your hips up like this, you can explore a little. Shoulder can come a little forward, a little left, right. Play around. It might be different side to side. But again, the general idea, what you want to avoid here, is once you do a lot of these shoulder openers, let's say you do them for months or even years, eventually your shoulder is going to be pretty open, so you move along to different directions in your body. You don't want a limitlessly open shoulder, shallow joint. You want it to be stable. You don't want to stretch those ligaments over time. So here's another bind where sometimes people are getting into straightening their leg there and working against your shoulder. You don't want to do that. You want to straighten your leg? Let's deal with your leg. Let's roll it around. Let's feel around it. Maybe you hook your arm around, but not putting yourself in a bind where you're going to find a leg competing with a shoulder. Because again, your leg is way stronger. Shoulder joint, you pay for all that mobility. It's an amazing joint. It's super mobile, most mobile joint in your body, but it's also pretty unstable as a result. So you don't want to push against ligaments in your shoulder. So just deal with your leg here. Avoid too much effort, putting yourself in a bind. Trying to do poses is much less important than trying to do you. So if you're doing this one, you could be binding and pushing into this one, or you could just be relaxed. See if wherever you put yourself, your body is always happy to be there. It's always movable. So an arm can drop. See my hand is relaxed there. I'm not using strength against tightness. I'm just putting my body someplace that it's comfortable, and I'm hanging there. I'm tucking my right shoulder here. I'm opening my chest. Just making a little headrest for myself there that I can lean into. I could be binding this. I could be trying all sorts of things to push deeper, but not the point. It's not useful to try to push deeper into your body. You want to ease into your body, and that's going to go a long way. Just that mind change there is going to go a long way to keeping your joints and your shoulders safe. So that's a couple of shoulder tips there. You want to stay easy enough always that you can just, if you're letting your arms hang, you roll around, everything moves. And then let's get into healing here. So as a start, even just starting to pay attention to the shoulder. You get your hand on the shoulder. If your joint hurts, a lot of tightness can happen all around. So you're going to get up into your back, into your neck, just giving your shoulder a squeeze, letting your arms hang, rolling around a little bit. That's going to help convince your shoulders that they're safe. Give a little tension, put a little warmth by just putting a hand on it. Now we're just going to hang here. So you can have your arms crossed. You can have your arms just hanging toward the ground. And keep a bend in your knees. This is not about going to war with your hamstrings. I'm just rolling around, finding ways to hang my shoulder easy. So I'm doing a couple of things here. One is saying, hey, it's safe now. We're just going to try some easy, not forceful things to let the shoulder hang and experience some mobility without weight on it. So here I found another place. I'm going to get my left hand down. Right arm just hanging on my back. I'm not pushing or stretching or trying to force mobility on my shoulder. Just putting it in some places that I find that feel comfortable, that feel easy. Maybe both shoulders. Again, relaxed in your legs. You want to be as relaxed in your whole body as you can be when you're doing this. Your body can just say, hey, nothing wrong here. We're going into healing mode. We can restore circulation. We can stop bracing for impact. And we can just be easy. And that's what triggers your body's relaxation response, and that's how your body starts to heal. So that's some shoulder wiggles and shoulder swings and hangs, giving your shoulder a squeeze on each side with your hand. And then from here, this is a way of putting just a little bit of weight on one shoulder at a time and compressing and releasing. So you put some weight on and you take the weight out. So you're leaning a little bit of weight on. You got a lot of weight on your knees here. And then you take a little weight out. And that's a way of starting to help your shoulders get some even movement in every direction they can and bring themselves on their own back into healthy alignment. So if there's an injury, sometimes the shoulder might come out of line. You can help it come back into line, not by forcing it, but just by moving it easily in every direction you can. And this is just some walking around here. I'm dropping a shoulder down again. I'm just going to hang here. And as soon as you find a space, especially when you're in healing mode, when you find a spot that you want to just linger and breathe, you find a good spot, that's your spot. You might hit the pause button and stay there for 5 minutes. So always do that. All this exploring is so you can find those good spots. You are the world's leading expert on you. Nobody knows how you feel, how your shoulder feels better than you do. We can take educated guesses. I've dealt with a lot of shoulders, so I might say, hey, I think that what I'm doing now, just rolling side to side, putting a little weight on, getting some mobility in the unweighted shoulder, rocking side to side. So I'm not holding stressed and tense ever. I'm not holding still in a down dog. I'm not holding still in a plank. So more and more stress comes into my body. I'm always rolling gently around everything. Here's another one. This side plank, sometimes you see people tipping over at a wheel. That's a really good thing to avoid. You might feel good doing it. It's kind of fun doing it, I know, but I'm not even going to show it because it's actually encouraging a kind of mobility, a kind of rolling in your shoulder that is going to make your shoulder less athletically capable, less stable over time. Because it takes some lengthening of ligaments in your shoulder in order to tip over to a wheel. Not really what you want. If you're in a performance art where you have to do that, like Cirque du Soleil, that can work. But you're going to pay for that later with some chronic pain and hopefully not, but potential eventual need for surgery. So try to avoid moves that require more mobility than is common to a healthy, stable, athletic body. So this is just some rolling around. This actually feels really good as a way to get into my right shoulder. I'm just letting it hang, and I might pause there and just find some different spots that feel good. Getting mobility in a shoulder that's been a little tweaked and just letting it hang, not a lot of weight on it, just finding your way all around every direction you can get into that joint without stress, without strain on it in any way. That can do a couple things. One is lets your brain know that we're safe, we're not in injury mode, we're in healing mode. And then the other is it helps to restore circulation and alignment around a joint. So it can go from just bracing for more injury, protecting against more injury, to, okay, let's heal. So that's some rolling around. Just putting your hands on something that hurts. This is amazing. You can use hot water bottles for this, but just bringing your hand to a shoulder, bringing some heat there, and I'm giving my just behind the shoulder a nice squeeze. And I just felt like leaning into that. It felt so good. And you can just hang there. You can have your hand just resting on the joint, but it's also good sometimes when something hurts. There's a process called surrounding the dragon. So you want to be able to relax, release, let go all around an injury and let the injury kind of take care of itself from there. So you're providing surrounding care rather than digging into something that hurts. I know there's this temptation when something hurts, you want to keep testing it, keep digging your thumb into it, see if it's better. Let it be. As much as you can, pay attention to the areas immediately radiating out from the injury. So I'm dealing with my neck here a little bit, making sure that my arm is just hanging easy here. So trying to relax, which can be hard to do if you're in pain. So breathe. The more you can breathe and breath by breath, use your exhales to just soften everything you got. Release, relax, let go everything you got. And it gives your injuries the best chance to heal if you can bring your body from defense into resting, relax mode, healing mode. This is just something that feels good. Sometimes to let your shoulders go, it's nice to let the arms hang behind you in a child's pose rather than in front of you. So you can play around, maybe straight off to the side, maybe straight forward, maybe straight back with your arms. All good. And then now I'm on my back. This is something I kind of like to do, just let my arms hang behind me with a little weight on my shoulders and on my upper back and neck. Especially when your shoulder hurts, your upper back and neck can start to get really tight, and that's not going to help too much. So just hanging in an easygoing plow can feel really good sometimes. This is another thing I like to do, resting my thighs and my elbows. My feet are slightly pointed in, and I'm finding a way to balance here that I'm just totally rested. Depending on what's going on with your shoulder, different things are going to feel good on different days. So you're going to keep exploring, keep trying things. I'm given a lot of options here that you can play all around to keep getting into your body, keep relaxing, not just where it hurts, but in everything that can start to get tight and maybe pull your body out of line around an injury because of responsive tightening, responsive protecting around an injury. If you can help relax the areas around an injury, you have the best chance at bringing your body back into a healthy, stable alignment and healthy chemical and circulatory conditions for healing. Just taking some twists here. This feels really good on the opposite shoulder, just letting it hang. You can't see it here, but my right shoulder is just hanging off in the air. Same thing when I was twisted on the other side from my left shoulder. So another way to just play around, see what feels good to you. Some days just hanging, lying down on your back with your arms outstretched might feel good. And you're going to keep moving all around you. And everything you do, do it easily. So when you're coming up to stand, say you just did all this great work, if you suddenly put a bunch of weight in your arms and you bring yourself up to stand, run on out of it, take your time. You don't want to put any shocks into your system, especially when you're healing. If you're going to load your shoulder, load it slowly and gradually. If you're going to move it, slow, gradually. Always giving yourself a chance to feel. So now I'm just going into something that kind of began as a cat-cow here, and now it's kind of a crazy cat-cow. I'm just rolling side to side. You can drop an elbow down, you can extend a leg off to one side or the other. just rolling through, getting a little bit of weight, a little bit of mobility in every direction, everything I can get into, every which way in my body here, rolling my shoulders all around. And then I'm really breathing super deep. I'm moving slow, and I'm breathing really deep so I get a chance to feel. If you move too fast, too sudden, with too much strength and tension in your body, it's hard to feel anything other than pain or anything other than stress. You want to give yourself a chance to feel everything, all the messages, all the signals your body is sending you. Because that's when you can really enter into participatory healthcare. That's when you can feel, oh, giving that shoulder a squeeze and leaning off on the side there, wow, that feels really good right now. And you'll find exactly where it feels really good. The key there is being relaxed and easygoing enough that you can feel. And then giving yourself the freedom to explore around, so while you're feeling, you can find those neat spots. So again, I'm just going to hang here. This is a really nice one. You can even lightly tuck your chin or interlace your hands behind your neck so you get a bit of a release in your upper back and neck there, which can feel really nice. And you can play around. Maybe that feels good on your shoulders. Maybe stepping on your hands here, but not in a way that you're pulling. You're using the strength of your legs to tug on your shoulder. You don't need to subject your shoulders to any stress or strain. So a good bend in your knees. You're just easy going. You're moving it. You're getting into it every direction you can, but not with stress. Always with ease. Always, if you move, if you swing your hips a little bit, see how the arms just kind of sway. So there's no strength invested in immobilizing. And then this is just a little warm-up exercise from Tai Chi. You got your legs pretty wide, good bend in your knees, and you're just rolling your hips around side to side and just seeing that you are relaxed enough in the rest of your body that just by moving your hips, the rest of you goes along for the ride. And that can feel really good as a way of restoring from easygoing mobility, easygoing movement in your shoulders. So you did it. That'll keep your shoulders healthy and happy, and have fun.